What is up, everyone? Hey, if you are here with me today, my name is Pastor Josh. I'm with Welcome Life. If you're here with me, give me a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from, and just let me know. I want to connect with you and everything like that. So it's good to have you today for this live stream. We're going to be talking about difficult thanks. Okay. So we're in week 3 of the series, Difficult Thanks. And I want to start off by one thing, though, before we get started. If you haven't already, be sure to text welcome to 509-773-8667. That's 509-773-8667. This will get you onto the lists for the videos. That way you get text messages. That way you get everything. That way you don't miss out on anything that's going on that I put here on YouTube or anything like that. So text that number. That way we don't miss out on anything. So here's what we got. Have you ever been in prison? All right. Have you ever been to a prison? I know, like when I was growing up, we used to give tours. They used to give tours and everything of prisons and all that stuff. I don't know if they really do that anymore. But I'm not just talking about a prison. I'm talking about, have you worked in the prison, know someone who's worked in prison, maybe you've known someone who's been in prison. The thing about prison is it's not a fun place to be. I know everyone hypes it up and everything like that, and they're like 3 square meals a day. Yeah, but it's not really something you want to be in, because most of the time when you're in prison on purpose. You're in prison because you did something wrong, you got in trouble, and now you have to pay the consequences. And so what is it, I want to talk about COVID, okay? And I know you're like, just talk about prison. Well, so my wife, my family and I are right now in 2-week quarantine because of COVID. None of us have it. We just have been exposed to it. So we are now under a quarantine at the moment. And guys, I'm an extrovert. I love to get out of the house. I don't like to be stuck in the house. So to be stuck in the house, honestly, to me, feels like a prison. It's like, the good thing is I can go outside. But other than that, I'm stuck inside. I can't go anywhere. What's your prison? Okay, where do you feel like you're in a prison? Like, why may you feel like you're in prison? A prison could be anything, really. It could be a bad habit. It could be anything, in the number of things that make you feel like you're in prison. So in the comments below, let me know where you're watching from and what prison do you feel like you're in. Maybe you feel like you're in a prison in your house right now. So this is your prison. This right here is your prison, which isn't the best thing, but it's okay. So the one thing I want to talk about in difficult things is, in a couple of weeks, we're going into Thanksgiving, and not every state, not every country celebrates a holiday named Thanksgiving. Not every country has something where we give thanks, but every country, to a certain degree, gives thanks. The Israelites did thanks. They had a lot of festivals that made them give thanks to God, and the Passover. They had a lot of things that made them where they felt want to give thanks. So what is it that we're doing? But I getting away from myself, because that's not what this video is about. I don't have time to go into all the holidays and all the things that the Israelites did. I don't have that amount of time. So what I want to talk about today, though, is the person who was in prison because of Christ. Now, I know a lot of people were in prison because of Christ, and a lot of the apostles went into prison because of Christ. But the main one I want to talk about is Paul. See, Paul did a lot of good things for us. He wrote majority of the New Testament, and a lot of it was actually written while he was in prison. it's hard, during this difficult time. We want to go spend time with our families, but some of us may not be able to do that because of COVID. We want to go do other things. And again, like I've said in the other videos, if you haven't watched the other videos, I'll put it right up here in the corner so you can watch those other videos of difficult things, that we're in a time where it's hard to give thanks because of COVID. We want to go spend time with our families. We want to see other people, yet we can't. We're in our own prison because this is just the culture we're in right now. And so you might be able to go see your family, and you may not be able to go see your family. So what I want to talk to you about, though, is Paul, while he was in prison, want to tell us to give thanks. And he said this for a specific purpose. He said, give thanks. Now, I'm gonna read the verse, and this is where this is the verse that we're gonna be going into. It's in Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4, and we start in verse start in verse 4. So Philippians chapter 4, verse 4. It says this: rejoice in the Lord always. I will say again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, wherever is noble, wherever is right, wherever is lovely, wherever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. And the God of peace will be with you. Paul wrote these words for a specific purpose, okay? He was writing them to the church of Philippi because they were feeling persecuted. And in this whole book, I don't have time to go through the whole why he wrote the book, what other verses of the book he has to say. If you want to do that, again, I'll put it right up there in the corner to a great video by the Bible Project that talks about this very thing. Or I'll put it down in the comments below. So go watch that video and you'll see why the book of Philippians was written. To give a glimpse of what it was written for us, it was written for the persecuted church. It was written because the church in Philippi was getting persecuted, and Paul was encouraging them. More importantly, Paul was saying, hey, guys, I'm in prison. I know what it's like to be persecuted. And the thing about it is that Paul knows what it's like to do the persecuting. He was on the other side of this. He was one doing the persecuting at one time before Christ saw and met him. So to think about this is, at this time, it was probably really, really, really difficult for Paul to give thanks to God. Because it's why would he even be able to give thanks to God? Why would he say rejoice? Always, again, I say rejoice, especially when he's in chains for Christ. He's in prison for Christ. Now, this is what I want to go to, because Paul would teach us a lesson from this, from why and how we can do it. The first one is this. Rejoice in the Lord is more than just singing. It is a lifestyle of joy and happiness. It's a lifestyle of joy and happiness. Many times, we get into our situations, we realize that, we get joy and we start singing, I got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in. We sing and we have that joy in our hearts. But the main thing that Paul is saying here is that's not the only reason how you rejoice. Rejoicing is praising God through the difficult times. Rejoicing is giving God praise and having happiness and joy regardless of what the situation is in your life. That's what Paul is saying here. And that's what he's wanting to teach us. It's regardless of the difficult circumstances that we're going through right now, God is with us. What is your favorite verse about joy and happiness? There's many verses that talk about give joy. What is your favorite one? Drop them in the comments. If you're watching live, drop them in the comments now. If you're watching on the replay, you can drop them in the comments. I'll go back and look. What is your favorite verse about joy? So the second thing that Paul wants to talk about is the peace of God comes from prayer and petition with thanksgiving. Now, he puts that properly because first is prayer. If you want to see what I talked about, Daniel, it's a perfect example. Is again, Paul knew he's where he's at, and the only way that things would change is because of prayer. Petition. When you petition something, you go to something repetitively. You get signs for a petition. You get people to, you raise awareness for a petition. So what he's saying is you petition God. You bring these requests to God. And so that with thanksgiving, meaning you thank God for them, meaning you go to him and you're like, God, thank you. You're probably thinking, I can't thank God right now. You don't understand, Pastor Josh, what I'm going through. There ain't no possible way that I'm going to be able to thank God because of what I'm going through in my life. Well, I want to challenge you right now that you probably can thank God, because you can thank God because he's already saved you. He's already redeemed you, and he's already showed his love to you. And that situation that you're going through right now will come to pass. And it's only going to come to pass because of him. So that's another reason why Paul is saying that, is he's saying with thanksgiving, pray and petition God, meaning bring your request. It's okay to request something from God. Now, remember, God's not a genie. He's not going to grant your every wish. That's not how God works. So the last one is this. Learn from Paul. Learn from Paul's response and focus on what is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy. All these things is what we can learn from God. All these things, this whole list is what we can learn from Paul. Because these things are what keeps the joy and happiness. When we're going through tough times, I know some tough times that I go through, take for instance right now, my grandparents aren't in the best of health. I don't know how much longer they're going to be with me here on earth. And, again, we're on this whole lockdown thing that I'm here. I'm praying for my family. So what's giving me joy? I'm focusing on these things. I'm focusing on what is true. What is true is God is with me. What is noble? What is noble is God is with me. What is right? The right thing to do is go to God in prayer. And the right thing to do also is, even during this time, whatever trouble you're going through, find someone to go talk to. Because I promise you, you're not the only one going through it. You're not the only one going through that trouble right now. There are many more people who are probably going through this trouble. Also, you need to find the right people, whatever's pure. Well, we all know what something pure is. When something's pure, it means not fault. It has no fault in it. A pure diamond is flawless. Whatever's lovely. My wife is lovely. Whatever is admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy. Focus on these things. These are the things that God wants us to focus on. These are the things that when we want to see what's going on in our lives, focus them on God. See, I'm just going to take it right now and keep this short, guys, is that whenever trials come into your life, difficult things is possible. It might be difficult. It might be very difficult. But thank God still. Take it from Paul, who was able to rejoice in God. Even in one of the other books that he says, it was for his benefit that he was in prison. He even saved people while he was in prison. It's amazing what God can do when you focus on the right things and give thanks to God, even when times are tough. God God's already sent Jesus Christ into our lives to do this very thing. And even Jesus showed this. I don't want to get ahead of myself but Jesus gave thanks to God even when times were tough. He knew what was going to happen to him, yet he still gave thanks to God because he knew that was the right and admirable and lovely and pure thing to do, to lay down his life for you and for me, to take away the sins, to make us pure and to make us white as gold. Gold. I don't think there is a white gold, but if there is, let me know. So if you're liking what you're seeing in this video, guys, hit the subscribe button below, and guys, leave me a comment, hit the like button. Also, share this with a friend. That way you can give some encouragement to other people. That's what I'm here for. Welcome Life is here to live a life different from the world, full of joy, happiness, and all this is done through Jesus Christ. So guys, like I always say, it's time that we live different. It's time that we be different. Don't live the life the same as the world lives your life. Live a life different from the world and look and see what Christ can do in your life. Don't ever think for 1 second that you are in this alone. You all have a great day.